What's up, folks? Welcome to another episode of Watching Paint Dry here on Another Letdown Media. My name is Zach from Another Letdown Media and the Adjacent Text podcast. I will be your host this evening along with my buddy, Mike Broody Gambit. How's it going, man?
It's going great. Glad to be here. Looking forward to painting projects tonight.
Yeah, me too. It's been quite a week. I'm back at the store sorting comics and, generally being paranoid about being back in public again. It's a little odd. I mean, even though I'm like isolated in my little closet office, whatever, with all the comic books, it's still like a little nerve-wracking every time I go out the door. It's kind of weird. So it's good to be, grounded and doing something I love.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the show where Mike and I hang out and paint minis. Tonight I'm working on some Cantuses from Gears of War. And Mike, I believe you're working on the Bat Family?
I am, in fact, working on the Bat Family. I've got a bunch of sidekicks to do, so...
Hey, they're not sidekicks, man. Nightwing is a full-blown legit hero.
Yeah.
All right, well, as with all the shows we host here on the Another Letdown Media channel, we believe in civil rights for absolutely everyone and in being as inclusive as possible. So any comments or activity actively working against that goal are not welcome and will not be tolerated. So, let's get to painting, shall we? Here we go. Once again, unfortunately, without Adam. Adam had to depart from the show. Family obligations kind of tying him down, and we respect that. Like, family comes first all the time. As much as we like to think that we are also family in one way or another, because we kind of are. Let's be honest here. Greater Than Games family. It's how we all met. It's what we all love. So, yeah. All right, so I got this little bugger. What's that?
I need to clean my brushes.
Yeah, I just noticed mine's like full of crap. Oh well, it should still be fine.
I was about to say these, I've got a set from Games and Gears, I think is the company, based in the UK, but it's a synthetic brush.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, if the paint gets stuck in there for too long,
no bueno,
it hardens up pretty quickly.
Sure. RPD says, nice Jacobs shirt.
Yes, thank you. It is my manufacturer of choice. If it took more than one shot, you weren't using a Jacobs. As a sniper, when I play games most of the times, I like to make sure that I kill things when I shoot them once.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's... I don't know if you've watched any of the Gears streams that Alex and I have been doing, but like whenever I can pick up a long shot, whew, it's game on.
Yeah.
Much as I love a good Lancer, and I love chainsawing mother truckers. To use Dire Straits level censoring here, because hashtag family friendly, sort of. There's just something about a long-range sniper shot hitting its mark. Hitting one of these guys, for example. Oh boy. These guys are all manner of, like, really, really ugly. I think I referred to them as ugly boys when I tweeted about it earlier.
Oh yeah.
Because they are absolutely hideous. So, fair warning, everybody, and we'll say this a couple times throughout the stream. The next couple weeks, Broody and I are going to probably take off because between holidays and just needing some time, 4th of July is coming, and I need some time with my wife, to be perfectly honest. Haven't seen her in a while, like, properly, so we're going to take the next couple of weeks off. Or, I mean, we reserve the right to change our minds and find a different time to stream or something like that, but as of right now, that's where we stand.
So, I'm starting with the Nightwing here.
As you should. He's the best.
Yeah, and, like, his normal costume is like the solid black.
Yeah. How are you managing that? Just curious.
Well, I've decided that for this base coat, I'm actually going to go a touch lighter I'm using a Vallejo Black Gray.
Oh, right
that
on.
way when I throw like a Nuln Oil wash on it, I can actually have like depths and shadows
Yeah, that'll look
a
cool.
little bit more, hopefully.
And no matter
on top of it.
how wild a time you go for, I will somehow still try to be there. Thank you, RPD. We really appreciate that. You know that, man. You are Captain Reliable for a reason.
Whoop.
So it's funny, like these Gears minis and the Arkham minis, for example. Fantasy Flight really did not like have painting in mind when they made them. They made them impossible to get your brush into the, like specific places, legs and arms.
And like a single, are those single like just a solid mini like pre-assembled and stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. So before the show, Mike, you were talking to me about some plans you have for 4th of July. What do you got? What do you got going on?
Well, I drew. Goodness, I don't think I should probably be talking about this on air. In North Carolina, there are certain restrictions involved with fireworks that you are allowed to use or not. Pretty much anything that launches in the air is restricted.
Okay.
So I drove to South Carolina to possibly acquire some of those.
Nice.
I did that this afternoon.
Sure.
So yeah, I live on a cul-de-sac, so it's just like there's a giant, huge concrete circle that makes a great launching pad.
Oh, absolutely. Well, I mean, for real though, like cul-de-sacs are great for that.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to when I moved into this place last year. Like I didn't really get it. Like I was still moving in around the 4th of July, so I didn't get a chance to like launch off fireworks. But like everyone in the neighborhood pretty much just seemed to have like the little shower sparkler things and stuff. Like
Sure.
no one went all out. So I'm kind of looking forward to probably being like that guy for the neighborhood.
Sure. But I mean, so like I know you well enough to know that you'll be respectful about it. Like,
yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like
I was
you're the
planning on
guy who's
going
going to be like,
tomorrow.
you know, going door to door and be like, "Hey, I'm going to do this thing. You should come watch."
Yeah, that was my plan tomorrow. Was I was gonna try and catch up with a couple of my neighbors and make sure, like, hey, I'm planning on doing this for the 4th of July, because like I know like my next door neighbor has like a 2 and a 4-year-old, and
Sure. So yeah, you definitely want to give them a
there
heads
are a
up.
ton of like 10-ish around year old kids.
Yep.
That seems to be like the median age of a lot of the kids in the neighborhood.
Sure. So I mean, when I first moved back to New Hampshire from like after college, so actually I don't know if I've ever told this story anywhere. Like, I think my wife might know it, but I don't think anybody else knows it. When I was in college, I worked for the IT department at the school, and they basically, hey Andy's here. How's it going, man? Anyway, I was just telling a story about college. They basically led me to believe that I would have a job with the IT department at the school after graduation, and so I kind of put all my eggs in that basket, only to find out, you know, a couple of days before I graduated, that, oh wait, just kidding, we gave it to the other person instead, who like didn't even really want it. I was like, that's really screwed up. Like, okay, fine. So I kind of like tail between my legs moved back to New Hampshire. And I didn't, like, all my friends had moved on and moved to different places. So I had to basically start from scratch. And the first friends that I made were at the comic book store, because obviously, and they invited me to this big like blowout party at the end of the summer. At the time, I was working as a teaching assistant And I was like, yeah, great party, sounds great. I never went to college parties. Fine, let's do this. It sounds like fun. Because it was a party with people that I cared about, and they described it as everything you see on any like teen movie ever, but like with people who are way too old to appreciate that kind of thing, or to be doing that kind of thing. And it was called Yamstein. Yamstein was crazy, just like absolute insanity, and we did it every year. Because why not? There was copious amounts of drink, of which I did not partake because I still had to drive over an hour home. And I didn't really know what time things would be wrapping up, so I just, soda for me. Fine. But one year, my friend Al, and I'm going to throw him under the bus, rigged up the fireworks wrong. He had a few before setting the fireworks up. Needless to say, they went haywire and clotheslined across the cul-de-sac into the house. They were exploding against the house.
That's unfortunate.
Oh yeah. So my boss, I won't throw him under the bus because I love him to pieces. He's a great guy. Decided he was definitely not in his right mind. Decided to run out and try and play dodgeball with the fireworks.
Okay.
I'm really, really glad we managed to drag him back inside. Because the next thing I remember, and again, remember, I was completely sober here. The next thing I remember was my buddy Rich, who had dove into the hedge, popping his head up in the window and looking like, looking incredibly confused. And Al, like, weeping in the corner. Like, oh my god, what have I done? It was really fun and really funny. I miss Yamstein. I really do. But I also really don't. Hi, Westy. How's it going?
Hello, Westy.
Missed you yesterday. I am so glad that you've started texting Katie, though, by the way. That's been wonderful. She's really happy to have a new person to communicate with. Man, I just can't tell what's going on with this Candace's clothing. I think there's supposed to be some, like, trimming here. These guys are supposed to be, like, the Locust Priests or whatever. But they still have, like, really ugly, ratty clothes. Because they've just come out of holes in the ground. I apologize for all the musical silence here, everybody. The soundtrack that we're currently listening to is the Metroid Prime soundtrack, but it contains all, like, the, little, 2-second long clips as well. That's what we've got. That's what we're into at this point. Oh, okay. So here's the thing. Katie and I have been watching the James Bond movies, which I think I've mentioned.
Yeah.
We got almost all the way through On Her Majesty's Secret Service tonight, and then Amazon was like, oh, just kidding, your rental expired. $4 to keep going.
That sucks.
I was like, that's some bull hockey right there. So now I got to go find a DVD copy of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which it is my favorite Bond movie. You'd think that I would have. You'd think I'd have a copy of that by now, but I don't.
I was about to say, shame you don't live closer, because I've got all of them. I'd loan you.
And right now, I'm not particularly keen on relying on the U.S. Postal Service.
Yeah.
Some folks, Andy says, he knew obliquely had a party called Party Without Your Pants. And some other people had a party called Wang Dang Doodle, which is a party about making the hottest barbecue possible. For reasons I can no longer recall, those parties were held together, and somehow I got invited. It was an interesting night. I believe it, man. For real. Parties like that, I mean, they always come with great stories. I will forever love the guys. So, one of the guys who I don't know what his involvement exactly was with Yamstein was. I really should ask him. Is my tattoo artist. That's how I met him, actually. I mentioned casually to my buddy, I think it was Chris, that I'd always wanted a Mega Man Zero tattoo, and Josh goes, "Oh man, I'd love to draw that. That sounds great." George Lazenby, Westy. Josh got all excited about it, and it was years before I was able to like nail down the funds I needed to accomplish that goal, but I finally did, and I absolutely love my Zero tattoo, as well as my X, my Mega Man X, which is drawn by Adam. I'm very fond of that one, and Josh was on cloud 9 when he finished it. My headphones are being naughty here. Fix that as soon as I'm done with this brown. So just like the... Yeah, you say that, Westy, but... We still don't... I mean, there's so much unknown still. Westy and I are working on concepts for sidekick tattoos. Because we're crazy that way. Have you ever gotten blackout drunk? Oh boy. Andy, the answer is yes, but it's not a story that I can tell on stream. Oh,
I was about to say, I've got a great drunk story that I could probably tell on stream.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I was at a bachelor party, because obviously that's how a lot of drunk stories happen.
Oh boy. It sure is.
And at the time I was still working at an animal hospital, so like I had tons of random shenanigans knowing that what we were doing, and so like the start of the night was pretty uneventful. It was just we went laser tag and go karting and stuff.
Yeah. Sounds pretty fun to me.
But the start of the night, it started out amazingly because laser tag, they use lots of black lights and stuff like that.
I love laser tag so much.
So what I did was I snagged a pouch of the fluorescein eye stain.
Oh boy.
And before going into the ultraviolet, I dropped, I put a few drops in my eyes, and so I was running around in this UV light with these like creepy ass glowing eyes.
Oh my god, that's awesome!
I'd come around the corner, someone would see me, jump and panic, and then I'd shoot them and run off. And it was just like the edge I needed for getting tons of points in that.
That's phenomenal, dude. I love that.
Yeah.
I used to play in a Laser Quest league, and they gave us all the good equipment. So like we had the infrared goggles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You play in absolute pitch dark.
Wow.
It's super cool.
But anyway, as the night went on, we eventually like started hitting up some bars and other stuff like that.
For real.
So like after by 2 o'clock in the morning, we had done several shots, several rounds of beer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't remember too much. But we made our way home. Like, and I woke up the next morning, and I had a hacky sack, a train whistle, and a new pair of windshield wipers on my car.
Oh, okay. I guess if you're gonna do something, you might as well replace your windshield wipers.
Yeah. So that was an adventure. It was quite hilarious.
So, there is one story that I can tell. I've recalling things. So the one from long ago I will not tell, but the only other time was my wife's best friend's first wedding, which ended very quickly. And we all kind of knew that it was going to end quickly. The marriage, that is, because and that's why we were drinking it so heavily. It was people were running late, and the bride was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead and start drinking. That's a great idea." Not realizing just how seriously Doug and Eric and I were going to take that. The last thing I remember was still waiting for my wife's best friend to arrive at the wedding because some stuff happened and she was late.
At her own wedding.
At her own wedding. I remember getting bored, pulling out my phone and setting up and hitting random on Sentinels and defeating Iron Legacy. Then I blacked out.
That's a feat in and of itself.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I know that Fnatic was involved somehow. I cannot tell you any of the other bits. I think End of Days was probably involved. Like piecing it back together after the fact, I'm pretty sure End of Days was involved.
End of Days is great for that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that is the night that the out of context quotation list was born, which I believe you are aware of. But for those who are not, I keep track of weird things that people say, just in case I ever need to blackmail anybody. Also, they're just incredibly entertaining. Yeah, turn one End of Days was great. But the next thing I remember after that Iron Legacy game was waking up off the side of the highway, puking my guts out. So that was an interesting evening. Fun though. Wrathful Retribution. Yeah, I can see that being really good in an Iron Legacy fight.
Just get as low as you can and just instantly take them out in one swing.
Yeah. I mean,
that's usually my go-to tactic when I do the team mode villains.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
It's like I'll focus on this one and then just one shot one of the other ones later.
So like RPD watches Tales from the Archive nearly every week. That's my Sentinel stream. And he knows that camera brain, or he calls it camera brain, and I think that's incredibly accurate, affects me really, really hardcore. Like, I am a much worse Sentinels player on stream than I am for real, like in real life. And it's because I'm on camera. Like I'm doing it live. If given the opportunity, those kinds of plays are the things that I see, and I quite like team mode when I'm just playing by myself. But when I'm playing on camera, I'm so unbelievably bad at team mode. Oh, that's cute. My friends are at the beach. Good for them. Oh, okay, that's just that. All right. So I'm using two different reference photos tonight and having immense difficulty determining. Oh, okay, that's what that is. All right. Determining what's what. Andy, you asked earlier if the tattoo was representative or inclusive of all sidekicks. I mean, sure. We definitely have influences from Jacqueline, myself, and Russ. Russ probably can't get a tattoo, so we're like including his favorite Sentinels character as a representation of him. You were definitely a sidekick at some point, so realistically, we probably should include something from you as well. I think Tara is also being included as well. I have not been able to get a hold of Kit. We'll see. This guy off the handle so I can get him. Also, due to the virus, the government now owes me money. Wait, really? I'm curious about that, RPD. Oh, dude, so I was playing... I got home from the restaurant tonight, and we were waiting for it to get dark enough for me to use the projector to watch the rest of that Bond movie. So I busted out Mega Man X. After playing so much Zero, that game is unbelievably easy. By comparison. Still difficult, still challenging. Yeah, I mean, that's about as many as I've done at this point, I think. Let's see. No, I've done more than that at this point. 3 Gen Cons, 2 packs and plugs. 3... Oh, I don't even know, man. I mean, I was a citizen for a lot longer than I was a sidekick, and that's where it gets muddied in my head. I don't know which conventions I've done what responsibility at. The government have essentially said that everyone in a certain type of employment is entitled to a little less than $200. Professional autism is included in that. Nice. That's dope, man. I hope you get that money. Gotta get your check. I got my big end-of-year teacher check, and I'm so happy to be able to just put it right into savings this year. For once, we are on top of our bills. What's that? I think Broody might be talking to his cat. Were you talking to Cat?
Yeah, I'm talking to my cat.
Okay.
I had the door shut because my mother-in-law has temporarily moved in while she's waiting to close on her new house.
Gotcha.
And so, since my painting room, office, game room is upstairs near the guest bedroom, I shut the door to try and let her sleep potentially.
Sure.
But the cat was like, "Oh, you're in here, and I want to be in here."
You're in here, so that means I should be in here.
And she's just going to meow and want attention, but she'll calm down and eventually just kind of fall asleep underneath the desk.
That's fascinating, Andy. So, wait, so 6 conventions, that would be what?
Or she'll just jump in my lap.
East, West, South Gen Con. I'm just making guesses here. Origins? So what's New Hampshire like? New Hampshire, as I observed at dinner today, I'm realizing just how small it is, but it is absolutely beautiful. It is home to me. I've lived here most of my life. There are mountains, there are lakes, there's a little bit of a seacoast, just like a little bit of everything. We've got 4 very distinct seasons. Right now we're definitely sitting pretty in the early summer, end of spring. Um, although I do make the joke fairly frequently that there's only 2 seasons here. That is winter and road construction, but that's a whole nother thing. Um, yeah, it's red time. Yeah, I love New Hampshire. It is just unbelievably beautiful here. Part of my heart will always reside in Vermont, and a little part in New York as well. I went to college there. By New York, I mean like southern Canada, um, because quite literally, I could throw a rock out of my wife's like childhood bedroom and have it land in Canada. Blinovich. There no stick season in New Hampshire? Well, I mean, kind of. Origins Prime East, Oz. Oh wow, you went to Oz and Essen. Okay, so I was. That's awesome, man. Dude, you are well traveled with the company. I respect that. I wish some conventions would fall in a time that weren't like incredibly miserable for teachers. Is there no stick season? There's definitely stick season. Mountain. Yeah, especially where I live. Especially where I teach actually is more accurate. I live in the Lakes region, but I teach in the mountains. This model has so much more detail than the last couple, and I'm loving it. Those construction in 60s. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I spent a lot of time as a child in Vermont. My grandparents had a little hobby farm. That's where I spent most weekends. I absolutely adore it there. Oh, I'm off camera a little bit. Sorry about that. Still spend a lot of time there when we're not getting corona'd. I have lots of family there. I think it may be time to switch brushes. What do I teach? I teach technology at the K through 8 level. So it's quite a wide variety, honestly. Like K1, 2, a lot of keyboarding skills and just basic, like this is how a computer works. This is what you can expect to be doing in your other classes, like kind of getting them ready for the upper levels. 3, 4, very like sort of research oriented, like how to use a computer most efficiently for research. And then middle school 5 through 8 is very project oriented. Small base, there it is. And I absolutely love my job. I would not trade it for anything. Well, for almost anything. There's maybe 1 or 2 things that I would change careers for, but like I love teaching. It is definitely my passion, my calling. It was really nice when I moved back to New Hampshire after college. 2 of my best friends from when from growing up still live here, and it's been really nice to spend time with those people. And make some new friends along the way. Like some of you know from watching these streams or from hanging out at Gen Con, my buddy Alex. He and I played D&D together before we decided to become travel buddies. Same with Sammy, who has, been gone for a couple of weeks, but hopefully he'll be, we're counting down the days until he comes home. We miss him. So I'm sitting here with these other two Cantuses on the table. I'm like, I don't know that I'm going to get to those tonight. This model is way more detailed than the other ones I've been doing for the Gears games, or Gears game. And I'm kind of loving that. Like, it's been a while since I've been able to do detail work. I was talking to Alex last week about painting these minis because he's got to do it eventually, and he was asking how it is, and I was like, they're so rugged looking that you kind of have to throw everything you know about painting out the window. Blinovich, you said you're from Vermont. What part of Vermont? Chances are very strong that I've been there. Burlington. Oh, sure. Yeah, spent a lot of time in Burlington. I got married in Burlington, actually. Or just outside of Burlington. Right next to Vermont. Good night, Westy.
Good night.
Smack
Don't
Greg
forget to share
for
a
us.
meme before you go to bed.
What's that?
Don't forget to share a meme before you go to bed.
Go to bed, Broody. But yes, do that. And smack Greg. Because that's always funny. And don't tell him why. Just kind of do it. As far as what I've been doing, I've been playing Persona 3, Dancing in Moonlight, Cookie Run, Oven Break, and Gems of War, building Heart stuff, and attended Candace's Wheel of Fortune. Dude, I love Wheel of Fortune, and unfortunately she started like just a little bit too late. Excuse me, for me to tune in. I was super bummed. That's like my favorite Game Grumps episodes is when they're playing Wheel of Fortune. I love yelling at the screen. Do not smack Greg, he's too nice for that. Andy, the reference that I'm making there is something that happened very much by accident at PAX Unplugged last year. Poor Greg was subject to some rather excruciating pain because Jacqueline did not know that he was lying where he was lying and let her hand fall where it fell. Let's just say Greg's voice went up a couple of octaves. As you can imagine, it was great. Ask her about the Iguana Boys shirts or which old commercials did you get. Sure. Yeah, I'll do that. All right. Man, this guy's looking good. Let's get some silver in there. Time to bust out the lead belcher.
Lead belcher.
A little bit more red real quick. I need to go back and look at the gun. Okay. The Gorgon. One of my favorite weapons. Certainly my second favorite pistol in all of Gears. Not that there's all that many to choose from, but... The Gorgon is basically a machine pistol. I was trying to explain my style of playing shooter games to our buddy Dutchy earlier. I don't remember if it was today or yesterday. And I was like, yeah, my style is act impulsively. So things like survival horror tend to go very, 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 very badly for me. He wants me to play this a survival horror game with him, and as much as I want to, I can see that going very, very frustratingly for him. All right. Is it Belcher time, or do I need to inspect? Okay, I got a little bit of skin I need to do. I'll have this tiny brush out. Those old commercials included some unfortunate choices of people. Oh, really? I'm gonna have to go back and watch the VOD. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, I think it's lead belcher time. Time to belch the lead! Get the lead out. Okay, looks like the helmet and the gun. Oh dear. So we played a Arkham Horror 2nd Edition with Braithwaite the other day.
Yeah.
That went incredibly funny. Braithwaite and Jacqueline were drawing all over the board.
Yeah. Let's use this for a second. Okay, so on this model,
Mm-hmm.
Nightwing is standing on a gargoyle.
Sure. Ooh, okay. Go on.
So I could Dawnstone it just to have like a gray stony look,
Yep.
but I was thinking about using my ivory to give it a more marbly look.
So I know from reading books and such that the masonry in Gotham is specifically granite or darker
Okay.
stone. So I don't know that marble is the right choice. Or sorry, not Gotham, Bloodhaven.
Yeah.
So I don't know that marble is the right choice, depending on where you want Nightwing to be, like hanging out. But I
Yeah.
love that idea. I'm torn between my adherence to DC Comics realism and awesome Broody Gambit ideas.
Yeah. Let me stick with the Dawnstone then.
Right on.
Yeah, my like scenic Wonder Woman base that I did a few months back.
I love
'Cause,
that
like
one.
it's Greek. I did like I did the same thing. I used the ivory color type thing to do marble,
Mm-hmm.
and then just added like dry brushing green over it to like get a mossy look,
Sure.
and it turned out pretty good.
Yeah. So these Therons that I'm doing, or sorry, the Cantuses, are intended to be Locust priests. So while I dirtied up the armor and whatnot on the drones, I'm going to leave a little bit more of these guys shiny. Oh, yeah. Thanks for stopping by, Andy. Really good to talk to you, man. We miss you.
See you, Andy.
Like, I'm still going to put some filth over these, but like I'm going to let a little bit more shine through. Maybe even hit it with a second layer of silver. Like an iron breaker or something like that. one of my favorite scenes in Gears was when Marcus and Dom put on Theron armor and start tromping around. I think it was in Gears 2. It just had Alex and me in stitches. And you get to decide, like, should we take the stealthy route and try and blend in, or should we just go in guns blazing? But still wearing this Theron armor because we can. So between Ninja Cookie's MMZ-esque alt outfit and Leak Cookie being basically the Paul Cookie, I'm wondering which of us will get our cookie next in Oven Break. Yeah, I don't know, man. Only time will tell, right? My money's on Candace. RPD, did you watch any of Paul's stream this morning? It was basically Paul gets mad at Yeshua for, like, holding his hand through Paper Mario. And then Josh came up with this dumb, like, rating scale for the fights. Apparently, half a Paul... Or, so one Josh is equal to half a Paul, and 10 Joshes is equal to 1 Colin. It was very silly, and I enjoyed it very thoroughly. Shoutouts, of course, to our buddies Ryugami-san and Lord Yeshua, and 4Gs. Oh man, what would a Candace cookie be like? So I feel like it would be like sweet, but also kind of like spicy. So in order to add like weathering to the armor, I'm just like touching it with silver over the red, and it's working incredibly well. It's also going to add some variance to the various Cantuses, which I think is going to look really dope. Woo! Leaping Cantus. I think I might know one. I know that one might fit. Just but a few things will be as anyone as Leak Cookie just is Paul Cookie. Sure. Fair. shoot. Okay, I fixed it. Sort of. So I played some 30XX today with my best friend, or I guess in tandem with my best friend because the online multiplayer is not ready yet. It's fun.
What is it?
30XX. It's a roguelike Mega Man.
Okay. Oh, that's the sequel to the
20XX. Yeah.
20XX. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like it. It's hard. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how that difficulty level changes with two players. But yeah, I it was fun. It's definitely not Mega Man. But it's very similar. Scratches the same itch.
Yeah.
I didn't play much 20XX. I don't know. I just never got into it. But I think part of it was they changed the art style between the two games a little bit, and this one feels more like a Mega Man X, where 20, I guess, just kind of didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, me and Casey played some of the 20XX together, and it was chaotic and hilarious. Because she's not a platform player at all.
Sure.
She's absolutely terrible at them. And so, I'm trying to do what I can. And, I mean, it's hard to begin with.
Right.
Then trying to, hold her hand through it. It was just a lot of us laughing at each other constantly.
See, Katie mistakes my laughing for mocking her. So she gets really frustrated when we try to play games on the very rare occasion. And then she blames herself for, breaking them. We were playing Lego Indiana Jones, and she couldn't. Oh my god, I love it so much, but she could not figure it out. And then I was like, no, just stop. What? And anyway, it went badly. All right, just let that.
I need to get better about doing maybe some painting before I assemble.
I've tried that a couple of times, and it just throws me off, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I don't like it often, but there are some times where I'm just like, man, this would be so much easier.
Yeah.
If I could get to some of these spots, but I can't because I'm just gonna go over this again.
Oh my god, this is hard to get to.
Can you paint that?
All right. Oh, this guy's looking pretty good for base coating, I think. All right. I'm gonna break out the Dawnstone and distress this gun a little bit, or knock over my water. That might happen also. My drinking water, not my brush water. That, of course, is a mistake that I've made before. Drinking my brush water. That was disgusting.
I'm glad I've never made that mistake yet.
Well, so, like, when I'm painting downstairs, instead of using these cups that are designed for this, I use just, like, mason jars.
Yeah.
And I also drink out of mason jars. It might help if I made my reference image a little bit bigger. There we go. Oh, wait. I already did that. I was just on the wrong tab. Go me! Watch me be terrible at using a computer. Okay, there is one more thing I need to do. Okay, well, that's fine. You know, Dawnstone is a funny paint because it almost works as a base coat, but just not quite. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I was just gonna say, like, when I was just doing the gargoyle in Dawnstone, and I think mine's a little dried out, but it was nice and thick and coated very well for being a layer.
Yeah, I'm using it similarly. I'm using it as a dry brush, but like a base coating dry brush. I'm just kind of throwing over the silver bits to distress them a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, I should probably use a better dry brush than the terrible one that I've had since I was 14. Yes, dull that metal. There's a brown or gray dull. This is oh, it is. Never mind. We're fine. Everything's fine. We're all good.
How are you?
Who is this? What's your operating number? Dude, I watched Empire last night. Whew.
Yeah?
God, I've forgotten how much I love that movie.
Movie's great.
Like, unfortunately, it's the Disney Plus edition. Like, it's not the my Blu-ray player wasn't working, so I couldn't play my original un-Lucasified version.
Yeah.
But it's better than nothing. and I still like. Oh, God, the snowspeeder fight, man. Oh, it got me. It got me here.
Got you in your feels?
It got me in the feels. When Dak Ralter kicks it, like, whew. I also realized just how much of a nerd I am. The fact that I know Dak's last name off the top of my head. A New Hope is wonderful also, RPD. Like, for real. That movie is great. Jedi had a bunch of Muppets.
Jedi's my favorite.
I like Jedi, but like, boy, did they lean in hard on the Muppets.
Yeah.
And nothing against the Muppets. Like, I freaking love the Muppets. But watching, you know, Imperial walkers get destroyed by teddy bears was just a little off-putting to me.
Understandable.
And as noted by one Dante Hicks, Empire ends on such a down note. It's just so allegorical. Alright, I think this guy's ready for inking. What do you think, Broody?
Yeah, he's looking pretty good.
So Sepia, Earthshade. Maybe some Nolan oil. Unlock the gun. The armor. See what the app says.
Consult the app.
Consult the Book of Appiness. Oh, that's the wrong picture. I guess I need to go find it. This one. Okay, they're saying Earthshade. I think I agree. Cool. Earthshade it is. Of course, I'm going to need to buy more Earthshade next week. But you know, such is life. here.
Your cape's getting in the way.
No capes. Oh my god. Corn Red with Agrax Earthshade looks freaking phenomenal. That is not something I would have expected. So, one of the many Discord chats that I have, or yeah, actively in progress, is with Jeremy from Handelabra and Christopher Vidal. And it's we use it exclusively to gush about the latest Coheed and Cambria news and recordings and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I got my new guitar this week, which happens to be, well, the 6-string, the single neck version of one of the ones that Coheed uses on stage, or Claudio specifically. And the first thing I did is I posted it there just as I did everywhere else. And Christopher was like, "That is a nice looking guitar." I'm like, "Yes." The first riff that I played on it was the solo from Feathers, which was met with some appreciation, put it that way. Coheed is one of those rather divisive bands that a lot of my friends are like, "Ugh, gross, you listen to them?" But Christopher and Jeremy are like, "Yes, all the Coheed, it's wonderful."
My experience with them is not extensive. The amount I've listened to is the amount that has been in Rock Band and Guitar Hero.
Fair. So you've got like
I like playing their stuff when it shows up in those games.
So that's like what do they got? That's probably like Good Apollo 1 era. So I'm guessing like oh my god, blanking on the song names. 10 Speed of God's Blood and Burial, maybe?
I think that was eventually a DLC in one of them.
Yeah, that's what I figured it would be. Never had the opportunity to... Oh my gosh. Yes, it definitely requires a deep dive to truly appreciate RPD. There's like the records all tell a story, which is incredibly hard to glean from just listening to the records, which is why there's also comic books and novels and other stuff besides, all of which Christopher and Jeremy and I have consumed all of, but we also we're also all doing periodic re-listens and whatnot. It's fun. It's good driving music. Although you know what else is good driving music, Broody?
What?
Alice Cooper.
It is.
I'm listening to Billion Dollar Babies lately.
For everything.
Yeah, this is true. I'm listening to a lot of Billion Dollar Babies lately.
That's a solid album.
It's a very good record. Although I think my favorite Alice song is probably Poison. just because I love the
That's a
guitar
great
riff
choice.
in
I
it.
really like that one a lot. What was that? That was that Bob Ezrin who he was working with writing that?
I think so. Not 100% sure.
Yeah. Goodness, I like a lot. One that I'm partial to is Cold Machines from
Mm-hmm.
Brutal Planet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I also really like the opening "Welcome to My Nightmare"
Oh,
from the
yes.
album. That just is, it's just so genuinely creepy listening to it.
Right?
It's like you're about to be led into this house of horrors. Let's have this weirdly upbeat, catchy song. That's just, ugh, it's great. I
Oh,
love
it's
it.
wonderful. So good. Every year at the end of the school year, and I really missed it this year, I stand up in front of the school while all the kids are getting on the bus and whatnot, and turn my amp up to 11, and yes, it does have an 11 setting, and jam "School's Out for Summer"
Awesome.
until the principal turns the hose on me, which, like, she has standing orders to do. It is a thing that we have arranged ahead of time. Like, it's definitely preconceived, but like it always gets me by surprise because I never know exactly when she's going to turn the hose on me. My poor Stratocaster has weathered many a hosing, and I will not be bringing the new guitar to do that. That is irresponsible. All right. Man, this looks good. I'm very happy with this Cantus. Time to do his buddies. Methinks. Still got to do, dry brushing and stuff on it. But that will likely happen tomorrow morning.
Per usual.
Yep. That's generally how, for those new to the show or just watching it on YouTube, this is generally how Broody and I operate. Like, when Adam was on the show, he was kind of just base coat ink wash done, which was great. It's a good technique, good solid start. Where Mike and I have a tendency to, like, we'll do the base coat, the ink wash on stream, and then we'll touch it up with a dry brush in the morning once we have better lighting, natural lighting, and then we'll get good photos of it. We'll post them to Discord, which I really need to start. Like, once Adam's done with the overlays for my stream, the Discord link will be there. It's to his Discord anyway, because I don't have one of my own, but I am a mod there, and we all hang out there, so it just makes sense to post that link. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for the another letdown channel glow up that is supposedly work in progress. I say supposedly because
Newest color, so he's ready for an ink.
Dude, DJ Hero had some amazing stuff in it. Like, oh my goodness. I was always so bummed that game didn't do better. There's just some amazing stuff. RPD. You need to watch Beats of Rage and turn on the subtitles. Incidentally, Broody, you need to watch the FP and Beats of Rage also. Twitson accidentally discovered that the subtitles in Beats of Rage are all explanations of the tone of the techno music playing in the background. It's like contemplative techno and sad techno, happy techno, reunion techno. It's wonderful. RPD and Candace and Blue Eyed Bard and maybe Sonvar and I watched the FP last year, and it was awesome. I'm of the school of not being sad that DJ Hero wasn't more, just happy that it was. Yeah, that's fair. That's very fair. That's very fair. My buddy, I think it was... Oh, was it Taffy? Might have been Taffy. We were doing this thing on Discord. I mean, Adam's wife was in the early stages of pregnancy, so she was kind of like just kind of lolling around. And she was like, hey, we should watch movies together. Or like she and Candace and a whole bunch of us found ways to watch movies together. And boy, we watched some things. Candace got a subscription to Lifetime Movie Network. So we watched a couple of Lifetime movies. That's why there's a channel on Adam's Discord called The Lifetime of Cringe. And like we would take it in turns to subject each other to questionable content, let's just put it that way. Some of them were very good. Like we watched Turbo Kid. Turbo Kid is amazing. But we also watched things like Samurai Cop 2.
They made a sequel?
Oh, they made a sequel starring Tommy Wiseau.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it's bad. There's a Rocky montage in it where they play a song called Manimal by a band called Too Bad. Which, of course, I have on my road trip playlist, primarily to irritate Alex. Although,
I was about to say, when Casey had her surgery like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, or whatever, when she came back from the hospital, like that afternoon, I deliberately, like, while she was hopped up on whatever meds they gave her, we found Velocipaster.
Oh my gosh, I need to watch Velocipaster. It came up in Amazon. Go on.
It's so bad.
I can't wait.
It was hilarious. And so, like, I used to, like, my Saturday nights used to be, like, when before I moved up to North Carolina, I would hang out with my friends down in South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And we would, like, get together Saturday nights, and we would just find whatever, like, $2, like, bargain bin schlock sci-fi action movie that we could find, and we would just, like, go through watching them.
Yeah. That's what my buddy Brian
and I like $2 bargain bin where they'd have like 10 movies involved, so it's just yeah, let's just go for it. And so like I'd been missing doing that, and so Casey does not like doing that, but when she's on drugs, it's very easy to convince her to do so.
Nice.
And so yeah, it was rather hilarious.
My buddy, my old roommate and I used to do that. We would just periodically go to Wally World and just find just whatever garbage was in the bin and insist that we all watch it as a family unit. That was, you know, referring to him, his roommate, myself, my roommate. We lived in like a townhouse apartment, so it was like 2 bedrooms, 2 roommates. And then like, but like everybody would come up and hang out. We called it Chief Dr. Wilfred Hippo's Organized Dance and Waste Removal. That was how we ended up watching the Star Wars Holiday Special, actually. We found it at that one we got at a yard sale, but
I was gonna say I used to have that on DVD.
I have it on one of my hard drives somewhere.
I don't think it like survived a move or something like that because I don't think I have it anymore.
Fair.
But in college, I got it, and yeah,
That movie is rough.
it
Like-
is very rough. But it does have the first appearance of Boba Fett.
This is true. It sure does. I will be like, so I'm saying this, the Star Wars Holiday Special is rough, and I'm a huge fan of like The Room.
Yeah,
So that should tell you just how rough that movie is.
although as a whole, yeah, it's pretty bad. I will say the animated bit with Boba Fett's not like it is pretty okay.
Yeah, no, for sure. And the Jefferson Starship music video is pretty cool,
Yeah,
if a little trippy.
it has moments that are, at least are decent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always found that hilarious that when Mandalorian started coming out and we started seeing stuff, it was like the color scheme of the Mandalorian was like Boba Fett's animated costume, and he used the gun that Boba Fett had in that. And
Yep.
I'm like, wow.
Like
how
they
many people are
really
not
leaned
gonna
into it.
realize or recognize that. So I like this Venetian purple,
Yeah.
but sometimes, like going over a black, like prime,
Mm-hmm.
it does not show up well.
It doesn't until you ink and dry brush it, but once you do, it works really nicely.
I need to actually get a purple wash.
Honestly, so I mean, at this point, I use. Hang on, it's right here, but I'm dropping things. Druchii Violet.
Mm-hmm.
But Drakenhof Nightshade works really well too, especially if
Yeah,
you're looking to maintain that dark.
Mm-hmm. I recently went to my hobby store. Actually, not recently. It was before the quarantine, but not
Sure.
long before. And I was trying to find one, like a purple wash of some kind.
Yep.
And they had like one bottle,
Oh man.
and I picked it up, and it was sealed, but it was like the lid was loose,
Oh,
and
gross.
so it had all dried up.
Oh.
Like, I have no idea how long it had been sitting on their shelf or anything like that.
Yeah.
But I could tell that it was all dried up, and I ended up just bringing it up and was like, "Hey, here you go,"
Hmm.
and then walked out without getting a purple.
Sucks, man. RPD, it's been far, far too long for me to actually remember any of the titles. Those were DJ Hero was I played with my buddy Abdul in like my junior year of college. I haven't honestly played it since.
Yeah, I remember DJ Hero coming out my senior year of high school, or
Yep.
roughly around the time the first Guitar Hero came out.
Yep.
I played a ton of it in high school.
Yep. It would have been yeah. It was 2000. Really? Dude, are you that much younger than me?
What?
It was released in 2009.
Am I thinking of a different DJ Hero for the PlayStation 2?
That's the one. The PS2 version came out 2009.
I could have sworn one came out. Like, I had the turntable, peripheral, and everything.
Yeah, I mean, the trademark was in 2008.
But no, like, you and me are both 88, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, 09 was my junior year of college.
Yeah,
Our junior
it would have
year
been
of
me
college.
too.
Yeah. Maybe you said high school by mistake. Or maybe I heard high school by mistake.
No, I could have sworn, like, because I didn't get Guitar Hero right off the bat.
Right.
I thought I'd gotten DJ Hero, and, like, I just shared with a friend.
Oh. Huh.
And so, like, he would bring Guitar Hero over, I'd bring DJ Hero, and we'd both play whatever.
Shrug. I just remember hanging out, writing short films, and playing DJ Hero.
Not DJ Hero. There was Beat Mania. That was the one.
Oh, Beat Mania, yes.
It was like the same concept, but before Activision got the DJ Hero.
Yes.
Because there used to be like actual arcade games versions of that also.
Yes, because Beat Mania was 97. So that, yes. Okay. Yeah. Yep. That's Beat Mania. Mystery solved! We did it!
I'm not crazy.
Well, any more than we already knew.
Yeah.
All right. No going back now. It's fine. I like it anyway. Yep, that's. Oh, RPs. In Japan, Beat Mania is still going strong. Yeah, I'm not surprised, man. Ugh.
Man, Guitar Hero, that whole genre just brings back memories.
You know, so interestingly, I was really, really, really bad at Guitar Hero.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because a lot of the songs that were in the games I knew and know in real life.
Mm-hmm.
So my fingers would just naturally go to what my mind tells me is the right finger position, right finger.
Yeah.
So invariably that's not how it was on the controller. Now, Rock Band did release a pack where you could plug in a real guitar.
Yeah, like Pro mode.
But it wasn't very good. And it was very, very precise. So I ended up just kind of bashing my head against a wall. Yes, the rhythm. Yeah, that is correct, RPD. The rhythm game I needed was Rocksmith. And ultimately did end up playing a lot of, actually. But ultimately, you know, Rocksmith just gave way to, okay, giving up on this, let's just go have another declining balance rehearsal. Which was the name of actually still is the name of my band. It has seen many lineup changes. Presently, it is myself and one of my former students. Fun fact, the guy who used to be the community manager for Rocksmith's now one of the biggest plastic guitar streamers. Oh, really? I guess that doesn't surprise me terribly. Good for him. Jason Paradise. Yeah, okay. I know that name. I know that name. Actually, believe it or not, RPD, when you said biggest plastic guitar streamers, that's exactly who I thought of. Yep. Exactly who I thought of. So sorting comics all week has definitely taken its toll on my back.
Yeah. It's never fun.
It is not. It's not as bad as sorting magic cards, though.
Yeah.
For some reason, that is just absolutely disastrous.
That's Jason. So, we just finished our classes for foster care.
Mm-hmm.
So we're moving along that process, and one of the things we needed to do was get a phone line installed. So we've got like a house phone now.
Nice. How retro.
I know. But part of that is like our phone line and internet in the house is through AT&T.
Yep.
And they're having a special where it's like if you change your plan or do anything, they give you a free month of HBO Max.
Huh.
So we started like looking through like what was available, and there's a lot of decent stuff. Casey just started watching Full Metal Alchemist for the first time, and considering it's just about Father's Day, I made a note to point out that episode to her.
Of course.
And she was like, "Man, this show's really messed up," and I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, it gets better." And when I mentioned like, "Have you met the father?" she was just like, "I don't think so, maybe," and she assumed I meant like the two like the kid's father, like the main characters.
Right.
She did not realize I meant like the father who like mutated his daughter and dog together.
Oof.
And like when she got to that like in episode 4, she was just like, "I hate you personally." I was like, most everyone does when I bring that up.
Wow. No, it's been a very, very, very long time since I watched that. Like, so I was never huge into anime growing up. Like, I mean, first of all, I didn't really watch TV much as a kid anyway. But so like, as such, I missed out on a lot of even American cartoons.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't watch, Justice League. I didn't watch Justice League until 4 years out after college.
Wow, that was like a Saturday tradition for me.
Right. And that's just it. Like, I spent every weekend at the farm where there was no TV. There just absolutely wasn't TV. There was like 2 channels. And, so we watched like Lawrence Welk. So, I spent so much time catching up on domestic cartoons that I didn't really watch anime at all. But in college, there was a group of people who did, and I was, kind of desperate for friends freshman year, as I think most freshmen are. And I was like, okay, great, I'm gonna go to this anime club thing, and probably not really enjoy it, but like it's fine. There's people here. Turns out a couple days later, I found a collection of people who were interested in British comedy, and that's what we ended up doing instead. But like, fine. So yeah, I did catch enough Full Metal Alchemist to know sort of, well, to understand exactly what you were just saying, but that's about as far as it goes for me.
Yeah.
Although later on in college, it was the summer between my junior and senior year. My buddy and I my buddy got a place downtown above the pizza restaurant, but he needed some help, with rent and stuff. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll come down. So we watched a lot of, like mech anime, Gundam and the like. So I do know some of that sort of thing. I have a smattering of anime knowledge. But, although lately, Seven Deadly Sins. Have you watched that one?
I have not.
Very, very fun. Actually, that's when I'm not painting on stream. That's usually what I'm watching. And part of the reason that I started watching that, I used to work at Fan Expo Boston doing like celebrity handling.
Yeah.
And my last year there, they assigned me Bryce Papenbrook, who does a lot of anime voice acting. And he was just super cool, super nice. And I was like, dude, I guess I got to watch something that you're in. What do you recommend? He's like, oh, definitely Seven Deadly Sins. It is some of my best work. And I was like, okay, done. And I found myself really enjoying it, so. I'm glad that he recommended it. No. That was a college thing. And that was the same living downtown. I watched my buddy Chris play it. He would play that while I read comics, quite honestly. Because the other place of work that was what our place was above was the comic book store. It's kind of cool. Comic book store in the basement, pizza restaurant just above that, our apartment right above the two.
That's really convenient.
Yeah. Every Thursday night, the pizza restaurant would... every Thursday night, which, because of the size of the comic book store, that ended up being his new comic day. I'd get my new comics, and the pizza restaurant would send up a bunch of pies, and basically anything that was left over, they would just send right up to our room. Free of charge. Included with our rent, basically.
Lead Belcher.
Lead Belcher! It's time to belch! Brap!
And these katanas are really thin and frail.
You doing Damien?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, who uses katanas? Other than, katana. I started watching Stargirl today.
Yeah?
It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I think the CW has gone a little overboard in terms of their super shows.
Well, I mean, this one was predominantly DCU. Like, it was originally developed for just DCU, but
Right.
to mitigate costs after the Swamp Thing debacle, kind of like they sold to HBO Max Doom Patrol, or like split the cost. They did that with CW for Stargirl.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And if you were watching the CW cut, like they cut out like 15 minutes.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, like on DCU you get like the full episodes, but on the CW they cut it down to air like for airtime.
Huh. Because that's interesting, because one of my initial reactions was, oh, this seems like it's all over the place.
Oh, and yeah, I haven't seen like the CW cut, so I don't know exactly what's different.
Right. That also explains why Chamali asked me where I was watching it. As much as I prefer DC Comics books over Marvel, I do generally prefer Marvel in terms of other media,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of cartoons. I think DC
Yeah.
Comics cartoons are generally better, but
I think I've got all the colors on these. Except for eyes. Which luckily they're wearing masks.
eyes are so much easier to do when they're wearing masks.
Yeah, because it's like the superhero like Batman thing where it's just like the white for the eye.
Yeah,
So it's like if they've got the mask, it's just like you add the white in there. Guarantee. I also try and tend to do like pupils and other things like that. So
same. Not on models like these. Like, I mean, part of that is a scale thing. These Fantasy Flight minis are, as I've mentioned before, kind of oddly scaled.
yeah.
So it's going to be an interesting pain in the neck when I try to do the cog. I'm trying to decide whether or not to do their eyes. Even Alex, who's kind of Captain always put pupils in everything, was like, oh. he looked at them. Alex did order a webcam, so hopefully he'll be on the show at some point.
That's good.
Of course, nailing him down is, I guess, not quite as difficult as nailing down Christopher, but that is to say, it's very difficult. Although we should hear from him on Thursday. We should gear up on Thursday this week. Time to dive further into Gears 5. We're so enjoying that game. Oh, whoops. We have a lot of plans after Gears 5 RPD. Gear Up is just going to become kind of our co-op stream. We want to do Borderlands.
I love Borderlands.
Yeah, Alex does also. I've never played it. Honestly, a lot of the Gear Up stuff came from an idea we had at Ghost Ship Radio a few years back, where we discovered that our friend Dan had never seen Forrest Gump. And we were like, wait, what else haven't you seen or haven't you done? And we were going to podcast a bunch of things that, for one reason or another, one of us had missed. And it was going to be our big team-up show, and then I don't really know what happened with Ghost Ship. We did like the big Vic Valentine live shows, and then we just stopped. All of us just kind of stopped recording. So yeah, it was sort of the post Gears stuff is most likely going to end up being like, oh my god, you haven't played that? How come and why? And then we'll play it together, and it'll be great. Alex now has a PC, so there is strong possibility that we can break away from the shackles of Xboxdom. But rest assured, Gear Up will continue. Yeah, Borderlands is gonna be fun. It's gonna be a long haul.
Yeah.
There's a distinct likelihood that Alex expressed a concern that there are bits of Borderlands that are significantly less enjoyable than others, and there may be some segments that we elect to play off stream, which I'm fine with. Gears obviously being... Go ahead.
I was just going to say that is definitely true. Like the Hammerlock DLC in Borderlands 2.
Mm-hmm. That's
thematically it's a lot of fun, but playing it is a slog.
Yeah. That's definitely one of the
Like,
ones he referenced.
the balance was really off.
Borderlands 1 in particular needs to be slathered in some sort of sauce. RPD, there's something about that turn of phrase that just makes me laugh. I believe it is time to belch. Whatever you do, just skip all of Mad Moxie's Underdome Riot in the first game. Alright. I'm sure...
Yeah, that's fun, but it's just like a wave battle thing. Like, it would not make good streaming at all.
Right.
But...
The other thing that we're talking about doing occasionally, RPD, is a Gears Horde retrospective. So like where Alex and maybe Doug or Leo or someone and I, play, or Chamali, play the various Horde modes in the various Gears games, and just sort of compare and contrast. The worst time I've had playing a good game. Oh dear. That's heavy duty, yo. And especially as Zach Sucks at Games grows more and more toward me just playing games that I miss for one reason or another, having an excuse to play games that I've never played is useful. But again, as long as you and Chamali and others keep sending me games, I gotta play them, so... Metronomicon is coming. No. Adam's cheat mode. Also, don't remember Hammerlock's Hunt being that bad, but I also remember playing that right when it came out, so Evil Smasher was the single most OP item in all Borderlands. Fair enough.
A lot of the Hammerlock wasn't necessarily bad. It was in particular the Witch Doctors.
Oh.
That would just constantly heal all of the enemies, and you had to have insane DPS to overpower their healing.
Ugh.
At times that it was just really ridiculous.
Sure.
realized I missed something.
Oh, that is the worst.
I forgot to do Batgirl's hair.
That's kind of important. Is it Barbara Batgirl?
Yes.
So
It's the New 52 version,
okay,
which I don't like the restyle, but
yeah,
I got the pack with all of them in it, so...
yeah. The other lesson I've learned in my replaying is that going from Borderlands 1 to Borderlands 2 is a river you can't uncross without feeling the pain.
Rest. Yeah, Borderlands is probably like my favorite like modern era franchise.
Right on. I think it's a lot of people's.
Yeah. It's like the franchises that are like my all-time favorites are like Mario, Mega Man, Tomb Raider, and then like Borderlands.
Nice. I think I gotta go. So, Mega Man for sure, obviously. Gears for sure, obviously. Beyond those, like 3D Mario, I really love.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is I just have some really good memories attached to them. Like, I like Pokemon, but I don't love it. Like, it's not my favorite. Borderlands 1 was the game that made me get over myself and stop being an asshat teenager. Yeah. I guess that's fair.
How does Nightwing come along? That looks great. He looks dry and ready for dry brushing.
Something I've learned doing these Gears minis, you can
What's that?
dry brush like almost the same color across the entire model, and based on the undercoat and the ink wash, it'll sort of just take the shape of whatever you need it to.
Too much. Too much.
Operative word there being can. Not necessarily that you should all the time, but... Finished Once and Future Slab and I'm enjoying myself a lot, especially now that I've gotten to meet Face McShooty again. It's reminded that as painfully dated as a lot of that game is, other parts as timeless as anything can get. Yeah, that's fair, man.
Face McShooty is great. So, as my normal style of play, I snipe a lot. So in the first Borderlands, I played Mordecai.
Mm-hmm.
Have a soft spot for him.
Sure.
I loved the mechanic of Bloodwing with the the pet that you could send around to do things.
Yeah. I actually do know. I understand what you're talking about. I watched my brother play with some of BL1. So.
Okay. Second game, I did not jump on right away.
Sure.
I had just moved to South Carolina, and had just gotten married, so
yeah.
Had a lot on my plate, and so and none of the characters really spoke out to me.
Sure.
As much as just picking up the sniper, but the first DLC character, Gage the Necromancer, was just that was it. She summons a robot, it runs around and does things. I let it run into melee and then I just sniped. It made it a bit easier playing solo.
Yep.
She's outstanding. The pre-sequel, I ended up... It was a slight deviation, but I went with the Lawbringer, Nisha.
Yep.
Classic gunslinger. Westerns are great. Went down the spec tree to with the pistols to dual wield, and It was fun. And in 3, I ended up going with Flak, the Beastmaster. So hunter, sniper bits. I have a pet that runs out and does stuff. I have a very, very fixed strategy when it comes to playing the Borderlands games.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. Another game that we want to do, because I played through the game, but I didn't play the multiplayer, was Portal 2.
Ooh, the multiplayer is a ton of fun.
That's what I've heard. And Portal 1 came out at a really difficult time in my life. I'm not at liberty to go into details, but I was struggling. And so I had some negative feelings attached to that game. So even when Portal 2 came out, I was just like, okay, fine, whatever. And I played through it, but I was like, all right, I'm doing this because I feel like I have to, because it's so widely, acclaimed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So what might end up happening is when we get to that game, I might do the single player on Zach Sucks at Games and then do the multiplayer with Alex, just for a laugh. We'll see.
Doke.
Hey, there's my boy. Yeah. Two down, one to go. The question is, do I finish this tonight or do I just do it in the morning? How much more do you have to go, Mike?
all of my washing's done. I'm working on Jason Todd dry brushing and layering right now, actually.
Okay. So, I guess with that, we could probably call it. Yeah, I'll show off what I've done here. So I got this duder, and there's two of them. Still some dry brushing needs to go, but I think he looks pretty dope. I want to get his tongue with a different color, his teeth, and sort of dirty him up a little bit more, but I think that's more or less what the Cantus is going to look like. Anyway, I think that's where we'll call it tonight. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. RPD especially, for chatting up a storm. We appreciate that. We will be back for more of this next week, when I think I'm going to move on to the Therons. Therons are, from what I'm looking at in my reference photos, look pretty fun. Thank you, as usual, to Mike for hanging out. Always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, for real. And I will not be back on the Handelabra channel tomorrow. I'm going to celebrate Father's Day with my dad. Go do some kayaking, I think. But I will be back on Thursday, most likely, for Zach and Alex Gear Up. Have a great evening, everybody, and we'll talk to you real soon. Bye.